The classic steakhouse has been defined by New York City, with Delmonico's, Keen's, Gallagher's, and Peter Luger's setting the standard. Can a new steakhouse survive in such a competitive category of the restaurant business? Today, we are eating in a train station. Not your ordinary train station, but the famed Grand Central Station. And we are lucky enough to take the train in. Admiring the ambience of the surroundings, I thought about what my dad taught me. He always says location, location, location when he built his restaurant business. With 750,000 people traveling through this legendary building, that's a lot of foot traffic, where some will relax before heading home, enjoy a convenient lunch before a meeting, have a power dinner to close a deal, or have a night out with your wife. This restaurant can accommodate your plans. Palladinos was created by Bronx native and former New York City detective Joseph Palladino. He retired from the NYPD and moved to Texas to be with family and focused on his passions for hospitality. He eventually sold his famed Nick and Sam's in Dallas and served out his non-compete. His friend Cipriani suggested he take over the location that was home to the Michael Jordan Steakhouse for 20 years, which closed in 2018 due to a fire. As you walk up, this luxurious renovation designed by the Rockwell Group added different touches that reflected Joseph Palladino's personality. Mr. Palladino said to me he wanted to build another restaurant that was really special, and he certainly found a fantastic spot that overlooks the Grand Concourse with the reverse constellations above and the famed information booth clock to help make sure you catch your train in the center of it all. While the decor and backdrop is optimal for a restaurant, you really need to have the right menu to become a classic steakhouse. As we got settled, we loved the fact that the staff was super attentive and accommodating. It really felt like the start of something really amazing. Let's find out if that will last as the restaurant starts to fill up. A few moments later, they dropped off the two mocktails on the menu, the Legal GT and the Track to Happiness. Comment below what your favorite mocktail might have been. Surprisingly, both were good. However, both of us voted for the Track to Happiness to be our top choice for its tart freshness that cleansed the palate. The server revved up our appetites with some carbs in the form of a babka, a Jewish yeast leavened bread. This version had currants and onions and was laminated like a croissant, and it smelled like it was just baked. Alone, fantastic. Now, spread on some of that Vermont butter and a pool of olive oil, made for a wonderful start. The timing of the food was like clockwork that emulates a tight train schedule. You need to stay on time for the commuters. Most restaurants take a long time to work out the kinks, but when you have a veteran restaurateur and chef, you could narrow down that operational detail. We watched the servers organize the Deli Roll and the Palladino's Steakhouse Board on our table. I broke the tab for the chopsticks. And by the way, happy year of the fire horse. My fingers manipulated the chopsticks to pick up a piece of the Deli Roll. Cheers. That cost $26. It's a representation of New York in the sushi form. I saw this on Kristen and Will's video and seemed like a good segue from my 2nd Avenue Deli visit. You can watch that video after finishing this one. It had the right combination of rice, sauerkraut, rye in the breadcrumb form, and topped with pastrami. It was savory, tart, and had a back-end nose-clearing kick from the wasabi. There was a pickle rolled in that provided a crunchy texture. Since it had no fish, it reminded me of a Korean kimbap. Both Irene and I agreed that we should order this one again. With you. Then we rotated the Lazy Susan of the Palladino Steakhouse Board that was $72. It's not a traditional plank board, but a donut dish, making it easy to share with others. You get a sampling of 5 items that provides a preview of what's to come. So which would you start first? And grab the bread in the center, topped with a sweet pepper, a baby onion, and a gherkin. This felt awkwardly structured, and I was not sure how to negotiate this centerpiece, so I knocked it down to make a landing zone for the steak tartare. This chew for this chopped up filet was effortless, and the seasoning was actually refreshing. Poached egg white on top provided another soft texture, like a cloud playing against a crusty bread. At the end, I don't think I needed the bread at all. I grabbed the slider next. And after taking that bite, I looked at Irene and I was thinking that I really did not want to share. That burger was a flavor bomb, and the Holy Schmidt's pickles added that salt, acid, and crunch. It made me think that I need to order the full-size burger to determine if Palladinos has the best burger in New York City, because that single bite was not enough, so stay tuned. My eyes gravitated towards a garlic crusted bone, and I'm anticipating a wonderful meat butter. I used a small spoon they provided, and after working the spoon, I realized the goodness was towards the bottom. After some effort, there was a little amount of bone marrow excavated, and I smeared it on another piece of bread. It was amazing, but I wish there was more. I then split the surf and turf, and I took the smaller part of the shrimp, which was fine. Cheers. The sirloin was smothered in béarnaise sauce. The shrimp was perfectly grilled, the steak was tender and beefy, and that sauce was a perfect match with zest. Last but not least, on the Palladino Steakhouse Board is a steak fritz. I really enjoyed the beefy New York strip and the crunchy texture of the fried potato haystack, and I'm really excited for what's to come. To finish that appetizer, I took the last slice of bread and took advantage of the bone marrow fat drippings and the sauces left behind on the ceramic. If no one else does this, it's a missed opportunity for a fantastic bite. Before the main event, we looked around at the decor. Not sure if you noticed the accents behind me, symbolizing Palladino's New York Police Department colors of blue and gold. What really stood out were the 2,000-pound chandeliers. I thought about who is responsible for changing the light bulbs. And it's a cool place for people watching. I should have asked to be seated by the concourse, but our table positioned us to see everything and still have a view of the famed constellations above. Now, for what I've been waiting for. The servers started to fill our table with the main events, and the side players to fulfill the main entree portion of the meal. We paused as they pushed the Trolley Treat in front of our table. The sous chef slid open the door to reveal a slow-roasted, herb-crusted prime rib and sliced a 1.5-inch slab of beef and placed it on the plate. They ladled on the au jus, some Parmesan cheese, grind some fresh black pepper, and shaved fresh horseradish before placing the plate on the table. Irene and I sat back to take in all the dishes on the table. We felt like VIPs as we admired the meal in front of us. We started with a 22.5-ounce Strahan Bone-in Ribeye, and the 22.5 honors his 22.5 sacks in the 2001 season for $92, and the plate repeated the number 92 for his jersey number. Well, that first bite was savory, and the fat juices coated my mouth, making me really happy. There was a perfect amount of salt, making me crave for more steak. It was interesting that it tasted almost like it was aged, but it wasn't. Next, I stared at Irene's hand slicing a portion of the prime rib for me. And oops, my slice landed on the table instead of my plate. Stay tuned as to what the staff does for that ruined tablecloth. We both looked at each other and thought, oh my god, as the flavors dazzled our tongues. The seasoning really went deep into the prime rib, and the meat was so tender and moist. Soon after, Chef Sam Hazen to check in on us, and Irene asked him how he made the prime rib. He explained that he uses premium Balinese salt, which is less processed, meaning it has a lot more edges than your typical smooth Maldon salt, so it sticks better. But the challenge with roasting for 3 hours at 175 degrees is that when the meat is cooking, it blisters and shrinks from 16 pounds to 15 pounds, and all that seasoning just falls off. To counteract that seasoning falling onto the bottom of the pan, he applies a meringue layer around the roast, which helps lock in the moisture, and the seasoning of the salt, pepper, rosemary, and thyme stays adhered to the meat and eventually becomes a wonderful bark. The $125 Trolley Treat comes with a popover, which was very airy.
Let's try a piece by itself. Good by itself?
You gotta love fresh baked goods. The chef suggested that we swipe up some of that au jus with the horseradish cream.
How is it? You like it? Cheers. Good combo.
I definitely liked it more than Irene. Definitely trying to get the most from this meal. The potatoes au gratin also came with the prime rib. The spuds had the right thickness and cooked just right, with the cheese and breadcrumbs making for a tasty and great mouthfeel. With any steakhouse, we always order the cream spinach, and this was also made au gratin. The cheese made this leafy vegetable really good. And we'll order more. The beef was calling me to try the sauces with the steaks. The top one was similar to A1, but I'm more of a Palladinos fan. I always love the chimichurri. And this one had a unique orange flavor to it. The last sauce offering was the au poivre, and it was definitely peppery and creamy. Out of the three, the chimichurri won out, but to be honest, the steaks did not need the sauces. Now, no prime rib is complete without horseradish sauce. This sauce was tamer than expected, but you can feel the spice linger a little longer. I really like it. As we were enjoying the meal, the server started to fold a napkin and actually cover up the visual evidence of the dropped beef. While some would have been bothered by the stain, it really didn't matter to us. The staff did not make us feel uncomfortable, and we thought it was a nice touch that they cared enough by paying close attention to the small details. The team cleared our table and asked us if we wanted dessert. We already decided on the Palladinos chocolate cake. Irene cut through the triple chocolate whipped ganache with the dark shards on top. After that first bite, my mind was thinking, I'm going to regret standing on the scale in the morning. What I can say is that it was so worth it. The cake had a right crumb, the ganache wasn't overly sweet, and the bitterness from the dark chocolate rounded out this meal. The final tally with tax and a $100 tip came to $526.79. As Irene and I headed out, I had to get a picture with Joseph Palladino and tell him how much we enjoyed our evening. I asked him why Grand Central Station, and he replied that he wanted a special place for his restaurant, and he certainly found it here at Grand Central Station. Irene and I look forward to returning because it is worth a 4-no eats, well above the standard 1, 2, or 3. If you made it this far, you must be liking it. More likely it's Irene that you're watching. But to really help us out, watch this video popping up. Like, comment your thoughts, and share this video with your foodie friends and family. See you in the next video.